Hi, I'm Anastasia Imaginastia, but you can call me AI for short. Welcome to the Australian Book Lovers First Special Edition podcast, where hosts Darren and Veronica discuss how artificial intelligence will become a tool in creativity or a reason to question our reality.
Okay, listeners, welcome to the very first of what might be quite a few in-between episodes, shall we say, where hosts Veronica and myself, Darren, will be sitting in, well, we've got our Readers Cafe, we've got the Writers Lounge, but now we've added a new bit of architecture, possibly by necessity, and that is our science fiction, I guess space station we'll call it, but like a lounge in the future. And of course, because this is our very first mini episode all about artificial intelligence, because it has it's poked its head up and said hello in very profound, mysterious, strange and somewhat daunting ways. But anyway, nonetheless, I am Darren Kezico, dystopian science fiction and horror author, avid reader, and one of your co-hosts and co-founders of the Australian Book Lovers, coming to you from Ghana country.
And I'm Veronica Strachan, aka V.E. Patton, science fiction, fantasy, biography, or memoir, picture book writer, and also voracious reader. Your other co-host, coming to you today from Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country over in Victoria, and hoping that we could be doing a little bit of light gravity free-falling, Darren, in the lounge. That would suit me just fine.
Well, yes, I'm definitely drinking out of weird crystal pyramid-shaped glasses, looking out the window right now, and way down there I can see Earth spinning, and mind you, there's a lot of spaceships flying past, so every now and then they get in the way, those pesky spaceships doing the mining or whatever they're doing. But yes, a little bit of non-gravity is good for the soul, I think, or I'm guessing anyway. Well, swimming gives you a little bit of almost non-gravity, so swimming's good for the soul.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some water aerobics, but thinking about getting changed in the winter in Melbourne, especially out in the Macedon Ranges. Not so sure that that's going to be a goer. But anyway, back to AI. And one thing I did look up was AI, because we're going to talk about AI, and mostly in relation to creative writing, because we know AI is, I guess the latest and greatest, the next round of technical revolution. But I was thinking that I've kind of felt like AI has been around for a long time, and it certainly has in the science fiction writers, and there are quite a lot of reasonably famous AI books out and about, and the most famous, most likely, is 2001: A Space Odyssey, where Hal, the very bad Hal, the AI, takes over, and he does bad things in 2001. And of course there's the Terminator, so it's out there, it's doing things, the old Skynet there, but there's other good things. Do androids dream of electric sheep? There's the Jay Kristoff's Amy Kaufman's Illuminae files. So AI can be good or bad in books. What have you found in real life that AI is offering?
Well, like I said, I mean, artificial intelligence from a computer chip perspective or a digital intelligence it's always been a trope or one of those fascinating sort of points of discussion for a whole range of different genres, but of course mainly science fiction, most definitely. I think, I was kind of caught by surprise, I guess, because I, haven't been able to catch up with too much, because you kind of focus on what you're doing, and I sort of started just having a little bit of look. I could hear the rumblings in the background about AI and meeting in the White House, and the panic, and I thought, hang on a second, like, what has something like leapfrogged the technology? What's going on? And then so I had a bit of a look, and of course I was absolutely stunned, and had a moment of existential crisis where I realised that technology has actually taken a huge leap, and no doubt it didn't happen overnight, in the sense of it's been something that's been working or has been worked on for a long time in the background. And yes, we've had snippets of it creeping into our daily life. I mean, obviously we all use Google. We use, or at least, yourself and myself, Veronica, we use, like Pro Writing Aid or Scrivener, and there's all these cool digital tools that, we think of as tools, tools in our collection that will help, or at least they're available to use for when we're writing. But when I started playing with the AI, now for people listening out there that haven't had the opportunity to sort of delve into it, or haven't sat down with any interface that is, based on the artificial intelligence sort of platform at the moment, the common one, it's pretty damn overwhelming, because essentially we've got a new text input system where you can ask it just about anything and it can respond in ways that will leave you feeling like there's magic happening. For example, you can ask it to write a 1,000 word horror story, give it all the parameters you want, hit enter, and it'll write it right in front of you in a matter of 1 to 2 minutes.
To clarify, Darren, you're using one of the free AI pieces of software there?
That's right. So one of the main ones out there at the moment it's from OpenAI, and it's called ChatGPT. However, it's moving so quick that after I started playing with that, which is free and anyone can go to OpenAI and have a play with it, Microsoft have already built the latest ChatGPT model into their search engine Bing. So if you go to Microsoft Edge and just go to open up Bing, the search engine, you'll have a chat option there already with AI. So it is basically the equivalent of a digital friend that will do whatever you need it to do. It will talk with you, it will write essays for you, it will search the internet to find things for you. Absolutely gobsmacked. But I guess the whole reason for this little meeting here in our proverbial space stations is just the fact that it has arrived, and I think it's going to bring so many questions to the table that at some point we'll all have to face. And for example, at what point does a digital tool cross over to no longer being a tool, in the sense of we've reached a point now where, at least on a basic level, but it's exponentially moving fast, so it won't take long before it'll be pretty hard to discern, for example, on an article that you're reading, was it written by AI or was it written by a human being? Was it a human being
it'll be interesting to know what publishers are
robot?
Going to do about policing it, or will they police it? I mean, the Australian Society of Authors did a survey last month, and they got just over 200 responses, just getting a sense of what are Australian authors and illustrators in particular, how many of them are using it. So 80% of respondents said they don't use generative AI as part of their writing or illustrating, but the ones that are using it, most of them are using the chat GPT. They're using Grammarly. Apparently that's got some AI in it as well now. Pseudo-write. And we've all, I guess, had a little bit of a touch of the AI when you ring up and try and get your insurance sorted, or you're trying to, help desk on various other things, and the the chatbots are kind of there. But this feels like, as you say, quite a big leap. So thinking about the questions that people might be asking, we're just going to explore a few of the bits and pieces, and if you're interested, keep listening, but remember that we're just exploring at the same time as you, so we are far from experts but keen to learn, I think, is the idea.
Yeah, absolutely right. Essentially, just a couple of weeks ago I was up at 3 a.m. realizing in my own head that, oh my god, this is happening. This is a whole new transformation of the way we're going to interact with computers. Not only that, it's a whole transformation of the way computers are going to interact with us and with society, with our employment, with our social lives, with everything. And so, and coming, as we're both writers, obviously, Veronica, we love reading, we love writing, we love talking to authors, we love trying to promote Australian books, and we've already seen so many changes in the publishing industry, with the integration of e-books, electronic books, and with the ability to self-publish and the ability to organise print on demand. There's been there has been some fantastic changes through the industry. But the reason why we want to start these short little discussions, and this is really just the intro episode, and that is because there's going to be huge changes, and they're going to happen so fast that, I think as different elements pop up, as different scenarios, give us new pause for reflection, or maybe give us new avenues that will be beneficial for us to understand more and maybe integrate into those aspects of all of our writing, whether it might be the writing itself, whether it's the coming up with creativity, creative ideas, whether it's the editing process, whether it's the self-publishing process, marketing process, illustrative process, all those things. I don't think it's whether we like it or not. I think it's always going to be an option, but the reality is the tools that are just available today are just absolute light years from what were available just several months ago. And I think it's a very exciting and yet daunting.
Certainly people are concerned that, if publishers are going to use AI tools, what's the point of having writers? But I think the idea is not to panic and go down to that kind of, it's all over, might as well give up kind of thing, because currently while they're quite good, it still needs human interaction, it still needs human innovation, it still needs human imagination, and the content to give the depth of emotion and those kind of nuances, and to create that voice that's uniquely your own, rather than please write me a story in the vein of Stephen King, still requires human interaction. So we'll do a bit of exploring.
Oh, most definitely. And but the scope is just so much wider. I mean, you can teach it to learn your style of writing, and then you can have it write something in your voice, in your literary mannerisms, I guess. And I think it's huge when it comes to editing too, because, for example, I could upload a manuscript, say, for example, a short story, and then have it edited in the sense of check for grammar issues, spelling issues, which is a tool we've had pretty similar already.
There's lots of tools out.
But then I could have it re-edited in a cross between my voice and H.P. Lovecraft, or a cross between myself and Clive Barker, or have it rewritten the same story, re-edited in the voice of, say, Stephen King or Sean Hudson, or it's just mind-boggling. And I'm still playing with it at the moment and just trying to learn and understand it. I'm playing around with DALL-E and Hotpot AI and the text to image generators, which are just again astounding. And of course I'm looking into the voice technology, for example, 11 Labs, which is essentially you can train it to learn a voice. So it could, I can give it 60 seconds or 90 seconds in my voice, and then it can then actually use my voice to generate anything I type into it, which is really bizarre.
So how will people know that we're really doing the podcast, Darren?
Well, this is exactly where we're heading to. This is just it. But I think you are also right. And look, on one hand, it's terrifying and it's going to be very disruptive, and we... in future episodes, we're going to sort of break down each part as it surfaces and look at the pros and cons and what it means. But at the same time, as much as it gives me existential dread in the sense of I feel like I'm going to be left behind because we're about to leapfrog into this whole new cybernetic technology, it also is exciting because it means that the art can be clearly defined as being sourced or having an original source from an actual human being. I think it's going to be more valuable than ever. I think there's going to be a place for artificial intelligent art, and I can't wait. I love the idea of having these magnificent drawings or even stories or whatever it might be coming from an intelligent computer system. That's what we dreamed of when we were kids, or at least I did, a sci-fi. But at the same time, I think it's going to make human art, it's going to make it even more powerful, more special in a whole new manner and in a whole new profound way. And so you mentioned earlier that not for people to think, oh, that's it, I'm giving up. I think the opposite. I think we just have to work out the dance, but now it's just a matter, as long as we can discover a way moving forward. And I think this is going to be a huge point of discussion across the globe moving forward, to if there's a certain, I wouldn't say checklist, but a certain approach that we can take where we can kind of assuredly recognise something as being human or AI. And then I think if there's certain key markers that we can identify as being human based in whatever art form it is, then that's a beautiful thing. But then that is where we get into really philosophical quicksand, because how do we differentiate art between human and AI? That's for a whole other topic down the road. But I love the idea of humans being our value as artists may increase in a world that's about to be swamped. So, for example, ChatGPT is already so popular, it is but slowing down. It's reached capacity as far as its users. So whereas before it was instant, now it's so and it's learning. It's learning because from all the interactions.
And also the content. So I just say to people, just be a little bit cautious. You know, we don't currently have an idea of, are you giving permission? So check the information on websites and those kind of things, whether by using these tools, you're giving permission for the generative AI to reuse your material in its learning, and whether, you're happy to put your stories and those kind of things out there. There's no current licensing system in Australia at least, that compensates authors for the use of their work. There's no sort of practical measures to kind of do a collective licensing for AI training, those kind of things. So just investigate carefully, dip your toe in, get some ideas so that you can make informed decisions about whether you want to be just using it for editing, or whether it's something that you and the AI together want to create a series of vampire paranormal romances, whatever you like. It's out there currently to be used. A lot of people are saying no, absolutely won't use any, and some people are going, yep, loving it, jumping right in. There's courses and all sorts of things happening. So also remembering that we are just doing writers. There are many other uses for artificial intelligence, particularly in health and the medical field and all those kind of things, in productivity, in business. Some of that really awful grunt work, as you mentioned beforehand, Darren, bringing out reports that sometimes would take people 2 weeks out of the month to put together. The AI can do it pretty quickly, and then all you have to do is check it and add the bits and pieces, and all of that collation can be done together. So yeah.
And you said something there that I think is really getting close to the exciting part, and that is if you want to collaborate with the AI. And look, obviously there is a million things going on at the moment. It is just huge. It's changing every minute, every hour. And moving forward in our space station episodes, we'll definitely sort of hone in on a particular subject each time. But for our listeners out there and that are probably thinking, what is going on with all this AI, or how does it even work? If we integrate just a couple of elements. So if we for example integrate something like the ChatGPT, or that chat with the AI, which does respond in a human manner, and for example 11 Labs, so with Google Homes. So for example, this is what is technically possible today, right now, and that is, for example, I could, if I had vocal recordings or voice recordings of a loved one that I'd lost, I could teach it how to talk in a lost loved one's voice. I could then give my a chat AI of a name and basically begin talking with it just like I would to a person. And for example, I could be cooking and having a conversation with a loved one that's actually no longer with me. And I could teach it memories, or it could research on the net to bring back images and maybe say, do you remember about this time? It is, so when you think about it, you can actually, or you can create a writing buddy. And so you're busy, you're doing the chores, and while you're folding washing or chopping onions or whatever you might be doing.
Or chilies in your
Yeah,
case.
chopping chilies, making sauce. You've got your chat AI, you've given it a name, and say, hey, Frank, listen, man, I'm really stumped. I need something for this scene. What's the scene about? Well, it's about like this. Or what are you after to do? Well, look, Frank, can you give me a couple of options? I want one to, and all these things. And then Frank will just talk to you and say, okay, well, this is what I've done. I'll read it out to you, but I'll also print it out for you so you can have a look through later. And we are in the future, finally. We've gone from... I always make jokes about having, that phone that can answer any question in your pocket, and all we're doing is sending rude photos.
Yeah.
Or photos of what we ate. Yeah.
Some of us might be.
But anyway, so that's where we are today. And so it's pretty damn exciting. So there's a lot of stuff coming forward with AI. It's literally just exploded across the planet. They're having meetings everywhere. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to catching up in the Space Lounge moving forward, Veronica, on spasmodic and erratic episodes as things pop up, and we can maybe illuminate for ourselves and also for our listeners different elements of what it's going to mean for us as human beings and for us as artists.
Indeed. And I did ask the chat GPT, I haven't got the initials right yet, what are the benefits of AI for creative writers? And so without going into it too heavily, inspiration and idea generation, writing assistance, language enhancement, time efficiency, content generation, translation and localization, research and fact-checking. But I do like the final paragraph, which says, while AI can offer valuable support and enhance the writing process, it's important to note that the human touch and creative intuition remain critical. AI should be seen as a tool to assist and collaborate with writers rather than replace them entirely. So there you go.
Well, just before we recorded, I wrote, I actually played with Bing. So in Bing, all I said was, write a short 100-word introduction to a podcast called Australian Book Lovers. And literally in 2 seconds, it came up with, Australian Book Lovers is a podcast that celebrates the love of reading and literature. Each episode features interviews with authors, book reviews and discussions about the latest trends in the literary world. Whether you're a seasoned bookworm or just starting to explore the world of literature, Australian Book Lovers is the perfect podcast for anyone who loves books and reading. Tune in to discover new authors, learn about the latest book releases and connect with other book lovers from around Australia.
So that's perfect. So very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Bingy. There's Bing and then there's all sorts. But yes. So.
All right. So watch this space, basically. I have finished my bulb of tea and tossed that into the recycler. I'm winding down the gravity to get back to Earth, sadly. We'll think about what's going to happen, but keep your eye on these little mini episodes, and we shall see you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to delving into something a little bit more detail next time. But otherwise, this is Darren from the space station that is run by AI and looking forward to seeing you, or should I say, looking forward to joining you on the next edition of Australian Book Lovers podcast coming up very shortly.
But
all the best, everybody.
Don't forget, though, it's still important to remember to
read more Aussie human books. So we might have to change the tagline.
We might have to. All right, bye for now.
All right, take care, everybody.